Hell the fucko. I am TJ, better known perhaps by my YouTube moniker, The Amazing Atheist. Here I'm TJ Does Life, and I'm here to answer your questions. I was supposed to do this video yesterday, it's true, but what happened was I didn't, so I'm doing it now. And before we get to the questions, I want to tell you about something that happened yesterday. I was watching this show on Animal Planet. It was called Fatal Attractions. And what it is it's stupid people who become infatuated with an animal that is dangerous, and because of it, they're in horrible situations. In this particular episode, it was a guy had a big python, you know, and he kept getting it bigger and bigger, and he started letting it just roam the house, you know, and it was his brother's house, and all these, it was his brother's house, and his brother and his brother's girlfriend or wife or whatever, they were just like, we didn't want the snake in there, but, you know, he insisted. It's like, you're doing him a fucking favor. How crazy is this asshole that you're afraid to tell him not to let his giant snake just roam free around your house? Anyway, so the guy who owns the snake had a daughter, teenage daughter. He still has her. She didn't die, but the snake coiled around her and tried to eat her. You know, it bit her, and it fucking coiled itself around her, and it was, you know, crushing her. That's what constrictors do. And they ended up having to fucking, you know, chop the snake's head off. After trying, first they tried to pry it off, which, like, to me, that would never occur. I would never fucking see a snake wrapped around someone with its fangs in, you know, their body and be like, oh, I better try to pry it out of there. It's like, no, my first instinct is kill the snake. Kill the fucking snake. But finally they killed the snake, you know, saving this girl's life. And then, you know, you see the interviews with her dad, and he's like, you know, I guess it shouldn't have happened. It's like, no shit, it shouldn't have happened, you fucking moron. I'm convinced that these shows are out there either to make everyone feel worse about themselves, like, oh my god, humanity is fucked, or it's designed to make us feel better about ourselves, like, I wouldn't do some stupid shit like that. I'd never let a fucking giant snake just roam around my house. So I'm fucking smarter than those people, and I feel good about myself. So I don't know. For me, I guess it's kind of both. Like, it makes me feel better about myself, but worse about my species. I think maybe that's the attitude that shows like that cultivate. Anyway, I guess we're supposed to answer questions. Give me a second here. All right, what's the first question? TJ, I apologize in advance if this question has already been asked in a previous video. I know you don't like children, and I can't blame you, but do you think there could ever be a point in your life where having kids with your wife could be a possibility? If you two have ever talked about it, does she feel the same way as you do? If this is too personal, you definitely don't have to answer. Well, I gave up having a personal life the second I started making YouTube vlogs, so it's nothing's off limits, nothing's out of bounds. You know, there was a point where Holly wanted kids, and I was the one that was kind of like, you know, I don't know about that. I don't really feel like I'd fucking be good at it, and I really don't like kids. You know, there's something in me that, like, I have that fucking natural biological urge to be like, I must propagate my genes, but I'm smart enough to know that that's what that is. You know, so when I actually look at the pros and cons of fucking having kids, the cons at this point definitely outweigh the fucking pros, and Holly's come around to seeing things the same way. In fact, I think she is more anti-kid than I am at this point, because I'm still like, well, you know, maybe in the future we might fucking consider, you know, trying something, but she's just like, fuck that, I don't want no kids, gonna fuck up my life. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, it's fine with me. So no, you know, we're at this point we're both pretty anti-kid, but you know, I mean, things could change. That's the whole point of like life, is that, you know, maybe we'll get bored doing all the shit we're doing now, and we'll just be like, fuck it, let's have some kids. What else is there to do? So yeah. Do you think violent video games and movies and TV shows cause violence in society? I don't really. I think that there can be some cases where particularly impressionable people might be pushed to that. If someone is they have a problem already distinguishing fantasy from reality, someone like that might be prompted to do something like that by a violent video game or TV show or movie. But the normal people, like an everyday fucking person, is not going to be like, oh, I played too much Grand Theft Auto and now I think it's okay to run people down in my car. I mean, people understand the difference between fantasy and reality, no matter how realistic the fantasies become. Now maybe if we got to the point where people were plugging themselves into like a Matrix environment and going and killing people, you might want to keep people in their developmental years away from something like that. That might be where the line is legitimately drawn. But I mean, we do have things called mirror neurons that if we see another human being doing something, we kind of experience it ourselves to an extent. So if you have a lot of mirror neurons and you see someone else in like a video game or a movie killing another person, part of you might feel like as if you're killing that person and you're getting that rush from it. And it can be something that you might pick up that behavior to some extent. But the thing is that people with a high density of mirror neurons are going to be more empathetic. They're going to sympathize more with other people. So it's pretty unlikely that would work, because the people who don't have a lot of mirror neurons to begin with are already pretty much sociopathic. They're going to be more violent just on the basis of that, because there's nothing stopping them from being violent, because they have no compassion towards other people. If they can see a scenario where their being violent is beneficial to them, they're going to be violent just for those reasons. So I don't think that violent video games, movies, or TV cause violence in society, and I think the statistics back that up. I mean, we know that violence has declined precipitously in recent years. Well, we don't know that because, the media kind of saturates us with the opposite message, but if you look at the actual facts, that is the case. And, when have video games ever been more violent? When I was a kid, it was like Mario jumping on turtles. Now it's like fucking, I play games where you fucking shoot someone with one bullet and their fucking entire body explodes into fucking gore and guts. And yet violence is down. If video games really cause violence, you would expect to see an uptick in violence. I mean, that can't be the sole evidence, because there could be something else responsible for the decline of violence, and then the video game violence is just statistically hidden by a coincidence. But it does kind of seem unlikely that would be the case. It seems like if video games were truly contributing to violence on any sort of significant level, or movies, or whatever else, if those were significantly contributing to violence, you would expect to see a more violent society, right? And we don't. And even when we look at who's perpetuating violence, it's really not a lot of these guys who play video games, because, like, I know the fucking people who play video games, they're not the same as the people who are going out there shooting people. We all know this. We all know that these are two different people who belong to two totally different segments of society. For the most part. I mean, there's some cross section in the Venn diagram, but, by and large, it's not the same fucking groups of people. Let's find another question. You rally against capitalism in many of your videos, or at least a certain type of capitalism. Do you think there is a better economic system, and if there could, if so, could you briefly outline what that would be? I don't think there's a better system than capitalism. I just think that capitalism is not something that just exists in there's not like, oh, this is capitalism, and then any deviation from this very rigid thing is no longer capitalism. Capitalism is a system that exists on a huge gradient. Okay, there's you can tailor capitalism to the needs of your particular society. That's one of the great things about capitalism. Right now, we have a capitalist system that is basically designed to help those who are already on top. We can craft a capitalist system that isn't like that. We can craft one with the right regulations, with the right reining in. We can create a system that benefits a wider swath of people. You know, right now, the Waltons who own Walmart have more money than the bottom 40% of the fucking country. That's one family with more money than 40% of everyone. Like, 40% of the people that you just see roaming around this big fucking giant landscape of ours are poorer combined than one fucking family. You know, and you know, the Lee Dorans of the world would have us believe that just because the Waltons have all this money doesn't mean that they're taking it from that 40%. And I'm not saying that they're taking it from that 40%. What I'm saying is we have a system that funnels immense amounts of money into the fucking hands of the Waltons and very little money to that bottom 40%. That's inarguable. Because if the system was truly giving a lot of money to those people in the 40%, then they wouldn't be so fucking poor. So we need a system that spreads the wealth around, obviously, because it's we need consumer spending power. That's what keeps the economy going. We've designed an economy that's based on consumer spending, and we've fucking tweaked it to the point where the consumers have less and less money, and that doesn't make any sense. So, but capitalism can be modified. That's the wonderful thing about it. It can be modified. It can be like, capitalism is like a big fucking pit bull that wants to maul everything in front of it. If it's mauling your enemies, it's very useful. But if it's mauling you, it's no fucking good. Right now, we've got the dog off his leash, and we just hope he doesn't maul us. You know, you got to put the dog on a leash. You got to direct him where to fucking go. We need more control over our capitalist system. That's what I believe. I'm not a free market guy. I want the market to be a slave to the people. That's my view of capitalism. Which Disney princess would you most likely get into a bitch fight with, and why? And for some reason, this has 18 thumbs up. This people are like, yeah, we want to know this shit. Hold on. Gotta go somewhere. Which Disney princess would I get into a bitch fight with? I don't know. Let me see. Which one annoys me the most? Bitch fight. Bitch fight with a Disney princess. I don't fucking know. I can't answer this stupid question. I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to figure out like which Disney princess I have the greatest range of philosophical disagreement with. Like, well, I guess probably, I mean, I want to say Snow White just because she's like so subservient and boring and bland and has no real personality. But that's the reason I don't think I could get into a bitch fight with her. I'd be like, you're a fucking cunt, Snow White. You fucking suck. You're boring, bitch. And she'd just be like, oh. and you know, maybe the 7 dwarves would come kick my ass. Which I don't want to fuck with those guys because they've got big fucking pickaxes and shit. So I don't know about this. Let's just leave well enough alone. How about that? Yeah. What's your personal opinion on consciousness and its lower and higher levels intelligence? Okay. Consciousness is interesting, but we overestimate the power of consciousness, you know? Like, We think our conscious brain is in control of everything. That's like the great delusion of humanity, is like, yeah, I'm in control of my actions. But you're really not that much in control. Like, we've already shown that people don't really rationally make decisions. They kind of make decisions and then justify them later with their consciousness. Like, this is what I'm going to do, but here's my justification for why. It's not like we're sitting there weighing the options. I mean, maybe some people do at this point, because we've kind of, as we become more aware of the tricks of what our brain is telling us, once we become more aware that a lot of the reality that we're perceiving is a deception of just, what's going on in here, once we realize that memory is shit, once we realize that, our perception of reality is not accurate, we can start to make adjustments in our thought. We can ask ourselves, hey, am I just justifying what I want to do, or am I actually coming to a rational decision? So that's my opinion on consciousness, that a lot of what we perceive is faulty, and that we need to be aware of exactly where the pitfalls are, so that we can adjust our thoughts accordingly. And, so many people don't do that. And then there's the problem of the consciousness being flim-flammed with various ideologies, particularly religions. You have this wonderful gift where you are capable of moving beyond instinct. Really the great accomplishment of man evolutionarily is that we are not just driven purely by our instincts. Every other animal on this planet, at least most other animals on this planet, are driven by instinct. Like, a killer whale can kill a seal and just not feel shit. Like, oh, I'm going to just kill this seal now and eat it. Like, most of us are not just going to go, like, kill an animal and eat it and feel nothing about it. We're going to have some feeling like, well, it was him or me. Like, we got to have that justification. Like, well, I needed that to survive. Or, this is just the how nature is. We got to tell ourselves something. That killer whale doesn't have to tell himself anything. The killer whale just kills the seal and like, yep, well, no, I need to eat. They don't even think I needed to eat. They don't fucking have that. They just like, time to eat something. That seal looks good. Even putting it into English humanizes them or a language. That humanizes them to too great an extent. They're just being driven forward. They're perceiving reality and acting completely instinctually with no consciousness whatsoever. We have that, and yet some people want to throw it away, like worshiping imaginary people in the sky. Or pretending that a 2,000-year-old carpenter died to redeem them from imaginary sins. Or that they're going to get 72 virgins in a paradise after they perish. Do you have Asperger's syndrome? Why do I get this question so much? Do I fucking just give off the Aspie vibe? I can't have any form of autism because I'm really good at reading body language. So I don't think that I have autism. But I probably do have some kind of weird thing going on in here. Or it could just be as a result of the way that I choose to perceive reality. Maybe you remember the aforementioned changes that I've made to my thought structure so that I'm more rational and less driven by stupid blind instinct or by, mindless ideologies. Maybe that's why I seem like an Aspie, because I've made those adjustments. How many fights have you been in throughout your life? Probably 3 or 4, I guess. Not too many. I think I've actually described pretty much all of them at some point or another on this channel, so I won't get into that too much, but 3 or 4. Why does my cat watch me fap? Probably, I don't know, cats are, they're horny creatures. They really are. That seemed like a good a time as any to just like dive down there and smoke some of my legal tobacco that I smoke legally. Um, whew. If you could speak any language other than English, which one would you choose? I would choose Japanese so that I could watch fucked up Japanese movies and anime without having to have subtitles or it being dubbed by America, you know? I that's what I'd like. Because, I don't have any use speaking to, like, foreign people. Like, I don't even like knowing English sometimes. I go into a restaurant. Like, sometimes if I go to a really authentic Mexican restaurant, it actually is full of Mexican people. And they'll just all be speaking Spanish. And and it's great because I don't have to listen to their stupid conversations. Like, one of the worst things going to restaurants is if someone in a table near you is talking, loud enough for you to understand what they're saying, and you have to listen to their stupid fucking conversation that does not interest you at all, that is not interesting. They're not talking about anything that is worthwhile or fascinating or whatever. I don't like having to hear other people's stupid conversations. But if they're speaking in another language and I can't understand them, then it's infinitely more tolerable because then it's just some background noise. It's just I mean, granted, it's still somewhat annoying, but at least there's not like thoughts being put down to it. At least it's not like, yeah, my fucking dad, man, he's fucking having problems, man. Yeah, his fucking right leg fell off, and now he's fucking gotta just, he's got his weak arm, so he just gotta take his one good arm, and he's gotta claw his way there, claw his way to the fridge. It's crazy, man, because he can't hop on one foot, he's old. He's so after, now that his legs fell off, I don't know how much my pop's got left in him, man. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm not interested in that. I don't care about your pop. I don't care about his leg. I hope fucking he gets eaten by wolves. So, fuck off. And, it's better if that shit's in another language. So, if I'm going to learn another language, it's at least going to fucking do me some good, I'm going to fucking be able to watch things from Japan. Because Japan definitely produces, if not the best stuff, the most fascinating stuff from a perspective of how the fuck, like, we really fucked those people up when we nuked them. I mean, like, we scrambled their brains a little bit. That's not racist. I'm not saying it's in their fucking genetic makeup. I'm saying we did it. I'm saying, like, we irradiated their heads, and now they're fucking jacking off to tentacles and stuff. I mean, not that I'm any better personally, but America as a whole is better. Like, America, we still got our shit together inside. Like, we're not displaying, like, psychosis as a nation. We're very violent, which I guess could be some form of psychosis. But no, but we don't have, like, we're not fucked up in the head, like, in some weird way. I mean, I guess you could consider religion our fuck up, though. Because a lot of countries that have progressed to our level of technology and infrastructure, they've given up religion. They no longer do that shit. But I mean, I don't really think that's a psychosis that you can attribute to America because religion didn't have its start here. It's not like we invented religion and then started doing it. We brought that shit over from other places. It was basically a disease of the mind that predates the formation of America. Just because we've still got a bad case of it, But it's curable. It's curable. That's the good thing. We've seen that it is curable. Hopefully, America is recovering. We've seen some encouraging signs with less and less people feeling like they need religion, especially among the younger generation. So that's encouraging. Hopefully, we'll shake that off soon. Can you bring the whiteboard back? The whiteboard is a fucking bitch, though, because you can't light the fucking thing. If you point a light at it, it just glares. If you don't point a light at it, then it's just dark. So it's really hard to film the whiteboard. That's the problem with the fucking whiteboard. I mean, it's fun to have, and I'm sure there's probably some way to shoot whiteboards that, they're not glaring like a son of a bitch, but I just don't have the technical chops to figure out how to do it, because everything I tried, the fucking board glared, so I'm not doing it. TJ, what would you do if you woke up one day and you were 5 feet tall? I don't know. I don't know that I would do anything tremendously different. I mean, I would have the seat in my car would be adjusted differently. I guess I'd be treated differently in places I went because short people, especially short men, are treated less fairly and equitably than people who are taller or of average height. So I guess I would notice a decline there. But I don't know that I would change my behavior all that much. I mean, I'm not really doing anything that uses my height to my advantage. I'm not like a basketball player or something where, what if you were 5 feet tall? It's like, oh shit, my career would be over. I mean, I could still do everything I do if I was 5 feet tall. In fact, there'd be some things I could do better. Like I could dress better because I'd find clothes easier. I don't know if. I guess if you're 5 feet tall, you could probably just wear, like, clothes designed for fucking children. Maybe. Like, big... whatever. I'm not gonna fucking dig myself a hole with all my 5 feet tall fans. I don't want people being like, fuck you, making fun of us for being 5 feet tall. We got enough problems. Is Scotty in the kitchen? No, Scotty is not in the kitchen. I'm sorry. I tried to get him to come down to the kitchen, but he was busy. He was in someone else's kitchen eating their food. Dear TJ, seriously, should they bring back baby Jesus soccer to the Olympics for us atheists? I would feel discriminated against if they didn't. I don't even know what the fuck you're referring to. I'm going to have to skip that one. Hold on one second. I need water. And I need something else. I'm the only person I know that'll just leave people waiting for those lengths of time. I'll just be like, yeah, hold on one second. They'll start talking again. I'll be like, no, hold on one second. Hold on one second. They start talking again. It's like, hey, hold the fuck on. I gotta clip my nails. What's your favorite food? Chocolate shakes. Someone told me the other day that I if I like good food, which is my excuse for being fat, I like good food. They say, if you like good food, find good, healthy food. It's like, that doesn't exist, you fucking idiot. No, there is no good, healthy, like, ooh, broccoli, yum. Fuck broccoli. Okay, I like broccoli, okay? If you steam broccoli, I will eat it. I'll eat it. But don't tell me that it's great. Don't tell me that shit is fucking great. No, if you fucking think broccoli is great, you have the most boring palate of all fucking time. Like, ooh, broccoli, yum. Give me some fucking meat and some fucking seasoning and some fucking something sweet. I love sweet things. I love rich, decadent things. I love hearty foods. I love the textures and the fucking flavors of dishes that are prepared not because we need a thin waistline, but because I want to taste something special. That's who I am. And you can't fucking tell me that broccoli is fucking good or whatever the fuck else healthy people eat. I don't know. That's all I can think of. So that's my experience with eating healthy. Like, I'll get broccoli. That's pretty healthy, I think. Guess I'll probably fucking open the paper tomorrow. Well, why would I open the paper? It's just an expression. I'll probably fucking open up my browser tomorrow and fucking go to like Huffington Post or something and see that broccoli causes cancer. now that I've said it's healthy. Or someone in the comments section be like, broccoli is not healthy. Read this fucking study. You idiot. If you want to be healthy, you just have to eat raw shrimp all day. Still alive. Just eat still alive raw shrimp. That's what people are supposed to eat, according to this other study. When you masturbate, what do you think about? Bide some time with a sip of water. Ah, yes, water, so refreshing. I have to go down here again as well. The answer to your question is that I think about things which I find to be sexually arousing. I don't know what you think about. Maybe you think about your grandmother's house. You know, I loved Grandma's house. She had that oak dresser. Ugh! Maybe that's you. But me, personally, I try to think of things that I find to be sexually arousing. Bananas and grapes, mostly. You know, that's me. Agree or disagree, every decade has its own fair share of utter shit in terms of entertainment and media. Agree. How could you not agree with that? I mean, no one is under the impression that, hey, there was one point in history where every artist was good. They were all good at what they did, and none of them produced shitty content. Of course, we don't believe that. So, I mean, the problem about now, the reason that I think we complain so much more today is because shitty art isn't just, you know, a natural part of the fucking process. It's not just like, oh, well, you know, there's bound to be some shitty art and some good art. It's that shitty art has just been, by the majority of people, just lifted up to the very top of the summit. Like, this is the best. This is the fucking best shit. You know, like, I mean, I don't know if it's just the natural progression of things that, you know, what I consider shit today, maybe in 100 years they'll think it's great. Maybe in 100 years people will look back at fucking Lady Gaga or something and be, wow, what a, holy shit, what a fucking powerhouse. What a performer. What a genius. And people like me will just be gone. There will be no one there to just say, it's just shit. You know, it's like, okay, there's some okay elements, but for the most part, it's shit. It's just empty, hollow, vacuous shit. And we'll just be gone, and everyone will just agree, but no one will actually listen to it anymore. You know, people will sing its praises like they do with, like, Shakespeare or something. It'll be like, oh, yeah, Shakespeare's great. Who the fuck reads Shakespeare, though? I mean, I've read Shakespeare, but I'm a fucking weirdo. I know that most people out there haven't read it, or if they have, it was because they were required to for some reason. I actually don't like to read Shakespeare, though, because it wasn't meant, like, when Shakespeare was writing that shit, he wasn't intending people to sit there and read it out. He was intending for people to watch it in the form of a play. So I like to watch Shakespeare movies, or I like to, well, I've never actually been to the fucking plays, but that's just because I don't like going really much anywhere where there's people. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with Shakespeare. I don't know how I got on this Shakespeare digression, but yeah. It's a very broad question, though. That's the problem. There's so many different little tangents I could go into, and I'd fucking have to sit here all day trying to figure out how to distill my exact opinion by giving you multiple examples, each of which would be this tangential digression away from the fucking main point. I'm just not good at... It's not a question I can answer concisely. That's the problem. But suffice to say that every era has produced shit and every era has produced good stuff. And a lot of times it takes the test of time for us to see which is which. It could be that what I think is great now will just be considered shit or will be completely forgotten in the future. Or it could be that I'm right and the stuff I like will be vindicated by the test of time. But that's the only real test we have, and we'll never really know how things will be perceived, afterwards. We can sit around and being like, oh, well, this is going to be a classic, or this is a piece of shit. But at the end of the day, we don't get to decide that. It's just going to be up to the forces of time and introspection. So that's my answer. I hope that it contained something worth listening to. If you could kill 5 people, who would they be and why? I would kill you and the last 4 people before you that asked me these stupid fucking questions about who would I fucking kill if I could kill somebody. I already could kill somebody. Okay? I could kill someone. I could get away with it. I know there's all kinds of CSI and shit now, but I could get around all that shit. I feel pretty confident. There's still a huge unsolved murder rate. They're not fucking solving crimes left and right. If I really wanted to kill somebody, I could fucking do it. I could get it done. I don't do it. Why? Because, one, I still do, of course, fear getting caught to an extent, but mostly because I don't want to fucking kill anybody. I would rather, if I hate someone, I would much rather change their minds than kill them. And if it's just their personality I don't like, then I'd much rather just stay away from them than kill them. Because who am I to judge their fucking personality? Maybe some other people like that kind of personality. And I know for a fact there's a lot of people that hate my personality. I don't want them killing me, so why would I hypocritically go and kill them? So I have a moral problem with killing other fucking human beings. I'm sorry. I know that's kind of like strange and out there. I'm curious what's your opinion on incest. After seeing your Tennessee video about gay marriage, it is usually said that as long as it is between 2 consenting adults, it should be legal. Do you think that should apply to incest as well? I personally don't give a shit what other people want to do as long as no one is getting hurt without their consent. I think the weird thing about the incest question that is being brought up more and more, at least on the internet, is that the people who are on the people who are on the side of the argument that it should not be allowed are usually saying that because they fear that incest would become rampant. It's almost there seems to be this weird thing in human beings' minds that they can't differentiate between something being socially permissible and being compulsory. Like, you tell people there's going to be gay marriage, and it's almost like they fear that if there is gay marriage, then they're going to have to get gay married. And if you tell people that consensual incest is going to be allowed, they start thinking like, well, I don't want to fuck my sister. That's gross to me. So, you have all these people that they're afraid of being in some other lifestyle that they don't want to be in because they seem to think, well, if that's the norm, then I'm going to have to do this. But no, we're not trying to make our weird shit the norm. The gays, the fucking BDSM people, the fucking incestuous people, all the freaks and weirdos out there, none of them are trying to change society to where that's the norm. No one's trying to be like, I want this to be normal. What we want is for there to be no norm. We don't want there to be one set way of being a human being. We want everyone to choose their own path, to be their own person. That way, if you want to still be, your conservative, white, uptight self, that's fine. Be that. Be that all day long. Just don't try to make the entire society that. That's what we're saying. Don't try to make all of the world into your image. That's all we ask. Just, you want to live your life your way. No one has a problem with that. Just do it. You know? So, I mean, backing away and taking the wider approach, yes, I think people should have the right to do what they want to do. Even if I don't like it, even if I think it's wrong or weird, or I personally wouldn't want to do it, I still think they should have the right to do it. Dear TJ, which of the two is more normal to you? Is it A, circumcision, or is it B, homosexuality? Personally, I think that homosexuality is in nature. It's likely a mechanism to control population numbers amongst a species, whereas circumcision is not natural. It's the unwanted, unnecessary removal of a body part for a 2,000-year-old Bronze Age blood cult war god. What do you think? I don't think that's the reason that homosexuality exists in nature. But that's really not your question, and I'm not going to get into that because it's really a digression from what you're asking. But I do disagree with that, and I'd like to put that out there. Obviously, circumcision is not normal. There's no other species that's removing part of its anatomy once it's born. I mean, well, I'm sure nature's pretty fucking weird, so I'm sure that someone could probably find a few examples of that happening. But yeah, it's very strange. It's an invention of human beings. You know, one of the weird consequences of our, of our diverting from pure instinct, from just being driven by instinct alone. One of the weird side effects of that is that we've come up with some ideas of our own in the consciousness. The consciousness isn't always a good thing. Sometimes it's like, hey, what if the fucking God that lives on top of the hill that we came up with in our minds, what if he wants us to chop the tips of our dicks off? We better do that. You know, so, yeah, I mean, of course but it's not unnatural because everything is nature. I mean, the human mind is part of nature. It's a product of evolution. So we can't really say anything is unnatural. The only thing that's unnatural is something that doesn't exist. Something that breaks the laws of physics because it doesn't actually exist in reality. Something that's just in our imaginations. But I mean, like, once again, that's still a product of the human mind, which is a product of evolution, so you can still say that is nature. Even the imaginary could perhaps be said to be part of nature. So I don't really think you can say it's unnatural. And even if you could say it's unnatural, just because something's unnatural doesn't imbue it with any sort of inherent moral property. I mean, there's nothing to say that, like, oh, well, it's unnatural, therefore it's wrong. Why? How does that make sense? How does it make sense that just because something is unnatural, it must therefore be wrong? Something could be unnatural and right. Like, it would be unnatural if a fucking leprechaun appeared before me and gave me a pot of gold, but it would still be awesome. I'm not going to be complaining about the morality in that situation. You know, I might be scared because now I know that there are leprechauns, and therefore there could be other things like demons and fucking specters and shit. But still, I have a pot of gold, and that's fucking awesome. So I don't really jive with. I think there's too many false assumptions in your question, honestly. It really, once you tear apart the question itself, you're really not asking anything. It's just you're basically asking from a point of ignorance. What was your favorite cartoon or kids show when you were young? Probably the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Kids from, if you were male and you're around my age, then I find it hard to believe that you weren't into the Teenage Mutant fucking Ninja Turtles, because I didn't know anyone who wasn't. Everyone fucking loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, I've been like an outsider on most things in my life, but I was definitely an insider with fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, okay? I still remember fucking specific plot details of episodes that I have not seen since I was fucking a small child. I mean, like, when I was, like, 6, 7, 8 years old, shit like that. Maybe even younger than that. Watching fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Still remember the theme song and everything. I'm not gonna sing it. Yes, I am. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not really hard to remember, actually. It just goes on like that. And then there's, like, a few verses, like, Splinter taught them to be superhuman teens. Something like that. Or, and then, you know, they go through the list of their skills as well in the theme song. They have, Michelangelo is a party dude, and, Raphael is, like, lewd and rude or something like that. They're basically just like, yeah, he's got an attitude, man. That might even be it. He's got an attitude. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember that. I mean, like, I haven't fucking seen this shit for fucking ages, okay? Like, I'm remembering this from childhood. I'm not like someone who's, like, revisited this since. And then, fucking Donatello did machines, whatever the fuck that means. I guess, how do you think he's, like, up on the counter fucking these machines? He did machines. He didn't make machines or create machines. He did machines. And Leonardo is the boring-ass leader. But really, they're all boring because none of them had any... Like, for all the pretense of distinctive personalities, it was all pretty fucking superficial. Like, Leonardo is just like, yeah, I'm like the noble leader, and then there's, like, Raphael, who's like, I'm noble as well, but I kind of have, like, a little bit of, like, the most G-rated attitude possible. Unless you're watching, like, the movie. Then it was a little bit more grown up. But not by too much. Donatello, you know, like, oh, I'm the same basic character, but I'm kind of nerdy. And then Michelangelo's, I'm the same basic character, but I'm kind of, like, more fucking into having fun and shit. You know, there's not, like, these are not, like, deep character traits. This is very surface level shit. But it's an entertaining show. It's very imaginative, at least. What do you think of 9 Inch Nails? I like 9 Inch Nails, all right. I mean, I don't really like some of the newer shit, but you know, I can't deny that I've liked them in the past, and I mean, like, who the fuck doesn't like at least some 9 Inch Nails, though? I mean, I don't know. There's probably plenty of people that are like, fuck that sucks, but I don't know. It's kind of, you can't really answer too many, like, specific... I mean, I realize that I can't really spend too much time answering a question about a specific band, because everyone that's not into that band is just going to be like, this is boring, I don't want to wait for fucking... You know, that's why, I wish that I had the patience to afterwards sit down at these things and go through them by topic and fucking find the minute marker for everything so that people could skip ahead to just whatever they're interested in and skip the shit they're not interested in. But I'm too lazy to do that. So, you're just fucked because of my laziness. Sorry. 48 minutes, Jesus Christ. I guess we might as well just go an hour. My enthusiasm has fallen apart, and I feel less and less comfortable answering these questions, but let us continue. Physically, what do you find attractive in men? Do you have any preferences? Man, god damn it. I fucking sitting here like, yeah, let's keep going, and then that's the first question. I should have just stopped. I should have just been like, no more. I don't want to alienate people who are, like, because I know that that like the thought of, like, physical intimacy between two men, even to some people who are totally supportive of like gay rights and shit, that just disgusts them. I mean, it doesn't disgust them in a moral sense. It just, the fucking thought of it disgusts them. You know, and just, like, out of respect for that personal feeling, I don't want to fucking go into it. What do you think of Caesar's Legion in Fallout New Vegas? I don't like Caesar's Legion. I fucking refuse to help them. They're just mean. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I guess I do kind of understand, like, people, they can't really stand up for themselves a lot in real life or something. They want to go and be the fucking evil badass that just kills people wantonly and just, yeah, I don't care. But I just refuse to believe that a society that inherently brutal would even be able to function. I mean, I know that human beings have been pretty brutal in their history, but the exaggerated brutality of Caesar's Legion in those games, it's just like, I find it hard to believe that they could even function internally like that. And it just seems so, I don't know, like, it unnecessary to be that violent. I mean, even though they're existing in a post-apocalyptic wow, that's awesome. All right, this is probably just because I'm high on tobacco, but Ghosty Man 666 has an icon with a little fly on it, and it looks realistic enough that I was just like, fuck this, I got a fucking fly on my screen, and I was like slapping the screen. So I was totally trolled by Ghosty Man 666. So now I have to answer his question. Fuck whatever question I was answering before. We're done with that, whether it made any sense or not. Serious question that I hope gets answered. But what kind of social anxiety do you have? I have avoidant personality disorder. I have not seen my family in 5 years. I have 0 friends. Never had a girlfriend, and fear trying to meet people because I hear of being shunned. I don't do shit. I work from home, so I don't have to socialize with anybody in the real world. I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't have anything like that. I definitely have something. And first of all, I'd like to say that that's fucking horrible that you're driven to that point. I mean, I don't know how the fuck I'd handle that. I mean, I guess that if I really examine my life honestly, there might have been some chance of me being where you are now, but I don't think I could have gotten there. But maybe that's just delusional on my part. For me, I don't have a problem with people that I know well. If I know somebody well, then usually I can tolerate their presence around me. But if anyone's a stranger, I feel very wary of them. I guess I feel paranoid about their intentions. And I just have a general dislike and disdain for people that are outside of my social circle. And I have, of course, as a result of that disdain for strangers, I have a very small social circle. It's very hard to get to know somebody when your immediate first impression of them is just blanket negative. So that's basically my problem, I guess. So if any of you internet psychologists out there want to diagnose me, that's cool. Under what circumstances would you drink 7-Up? If I was really craving Sprite and the restaurant I was at did not have Sprite, but they did have 7-Up, that would be the circumstances I would drink 7-Up. But I never drink Sprite. I don't want to say never, because there is that rare occasion where I'm like, you know what, I feel like having a fucking Sprite. But that's not often, you know? It's just not often. More of a dark cola drinker. As a fellow pug owner, I love all pugs as you do. However, I'm sick and tired of retards dressing their pugs like geishas. It's so racist. Stop it. I don't dress your poodle up in black and white and make it eat snails. Do I give your lab a taco and a poncho? No. Stop giving dogs races. You know what I mean, TJ? I'd like to hear your thoughts. I don't have a problem with it, honestly. I don't think it's all that racist. I mean, Taco Bell had a fucking Chihuahua as their mascot. I mean, I think I have seen poodles dressed up French before. I don't think it's racist. I don't think it's even racially insensitive in any way. It seems like completely harmless to me. I mean, especially when it's honest. I mean, the pug is from Asia. It's from China, I believe, and then I don't know if the poodle's from France, but I have seen that, and then the Chihuahua is from Mexico, so it's really not like they're lying. It's not like they just dressed a fucking pug up like some country's not even associated with. Like, yeah, we'll dress this pug up like a Russian person because we don't like Russians and we think they look like pugs. I mean, it's not. It's all based on the geographic region from which that dog either hails or for some other reason became associated with. Where's Scotty? Scotty's upstairs sleeping. It's 1:24 p.m. I wish I was still sleeping. I like to sleep late. We sleep late in my family in general. My dad slept late. He liked to stay in bed all day. I fucking like to stay in bed all day and sleep late. Scotty likes to stay in bed all day and sleep late. It's just the way we are. We're just lazy fucks by our nature. I guess we're really just more night people. We just like to be awake at night, and we like to sleep during the day. We're vampires. Yeah. Do you and Holly ever argue about one of you revealing something about the other online? I try to just avoid revealing things about her online, so because I just want to prevent that argument from ever happening. So I really don't even get into it. Yeah, I'm not gonna. You'll probably never see me really revealing anything about anyone else online. You know, I'm not gonna go deep into what I think about my brother or my wife or anyone else that I know personally because, you know, that's not mine to reveal. You know, I'll tell you about myself, but I'm not gonna tell you about other people in my life. I mean, like for me especially, because I don't have a lot of people that I'm close to. So I mean, I'm not gonna fucking, you know, treat the ones that are close to me like shit. I mean, I try to be as supportive as possible to people that are actually my friends, and especially my family. So, yeah, I really wouldn't do that. TJ, what's your opinion on suicide in general? I'm not sure if this question has been asked, but I would like to know if you think it's acceptable or not. Thank you. You know, I've never been suicidal. I've never felt that. I've been very depressed. I've wished that I was never born. I've wished that I just somehow didn't exist. But I've never actually thought I should kill myself. That's never been something that's even occurred to me. You know, I know intellectually that it's a possibility, but I've never had that visceral, like, maybe it's time to do that. So I'm not the best equipped to answer the question because I don't understand the mentality. I don't understand what it feels like to be in that mindset. So it'd be really strange for me as someone who's ignorant of whatever that person is feeling to say that they can't do that. Because I don't understand that need. I don't understand how they're feeling in that situation. You know, if someone who's been there wants to either condone it or condemn it, then I think that's their right. But I don't have any right to comment on it because I've never experienced it. What is better? This is a little game, so we're going to go through this guy's game because he has multiple questions, and each one, the question is, what is better? And then he has out, you know, this or that, and we're going to play that in a second. Hold on. All right. Which is better, Chinese food or Italian? I'm going to go with Chinese because there's more versatility, you know? There's more variety, I should say, not versatility. Versatility, variety, both. It's got like, you can go to a Chinese place and there's like a lot of dishes. There's dishes that are very similar to things that we here in America eat as part of our normal European, American, whatever diet that we have. You know, the burgers and fries and all that shit. It's really not European, but, you know, we have a specific kind of food that, like, white Americans eat. So if we go out of that comfort zone, we have Chinese offers a lot that's very similar, and it offers a lot that's pretty different. Italian is pretty much all just noodles and sauce. I mean, they got like a few meat dishes, but they're all kind of just who gives a shit. You're really known for your fucking noodles and sauce and cheese. Whereas Chinese food, they have like such a wide variety. They got like chicken dishes, beef dishes, fish dishes, pork dishes, just so much shit. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? I mean, I didn't really like... I love reading Tolkien. I didn't really like the Lord of the Rings trilogy that much, mostly because I just didn't like the guy. I mean, I kind of realized that the reason I didn't like those movies is just because I hate fucking Elijah Wood as Frodo, because he's just such a whiny fucking bitch. He's not like the Frodo in the book at all. You know, you don't get an Elijah Wood vibe when you're reading Lord of the Rings. You don't really get the... I mean, you get that he's kind of like... He complains a bit, but you don't really get this weepy, sentimental fuck. So, yeah, but I mean... Star Wars, obviously, has had its problems of late as well. But, you know, I have high hopes. I don't know if I have high hopes, but I have some hopes for... the episode 7 that's going to be released shortly. Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars. Goddamn. I mean, maybe this game should just be played like a fucking instantaneous, yeah, this or this. You fucking choose. It's decisive. But I gotta weigh things out. You know, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings were both so revolutionary, too, because Tolkien really invented the modern take on fantasy, and Star Wars totally ushered in a new era of filmmaking. You still see its influence today. I'm going to say Star Wars is better, but that's probably just because I'm more of a film fan than a fantasy book fan. Alcohol or marijuana? Marijuana is better. At least for me, you know, like, just like all people have different fucking thought processes, different people have different reactions to different drugs. So, for me, marijuana is better. For someone else, alcohol might be better. I'm not trying to impose my taste on other fucking people. Taco or burrito? I prefer burritos. Mango or cantaloupe? Cantaloupe. Feta or Swiss? Both. Simultaneously. All cheeses are... You can't really ask me to choose between one type of cheese or another. It's never or. It's always and. Okay, so we've got... we're going to do one more, maybe. If a fan of your videos recognizes you in public and comes up to you with a request for an autograph or picture, if this ever happens, how do you respond? Every time I've ever been asked for a picture, I've given it. I've never been asked for an autograph. The most common thing is just I meet them and shake their hand and say hello, and that's pretty much all that happens. A few times I've been a dick and just kind of ignored them. So, but I mean, I have my moods, Sometimes I'll be fucking super friendly, and sometimes I will just not want anything to do with somebody that walks up to me. So, it kind of just depends on where I am at the moment in my head. All right, we've gone on for 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 16 seconds, so I think it's time to put this shit to an end. See you guys next Friday for the next session. It's not Friday now, it's Saturday, but I'll see you next Friday for the next Q&A thing, because that's when you'll be able to ask your questions again.